Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Stocks to Buy Live. We're diving into the conversations of the week, whether it has to do with Canadian dividend stocks, Canadian ETFs to give you kind of that global market exposure. We're going to obviously delve into the insanity of covered call ETFs because you guys batter me about my comments on that. But we got to talk about AI, what's driving the markets, this bubble potentially, or if this is truly the onset of just some kind of revolution in society that I don't even think we can comprehend yet, but it's evolving, and it is evolving very quick. MindMed almost at $1 billion market cap again. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, we were just buying some stocks in my fiance's TFSA, and we were laughing because she's still holding MindMed in there, and we haven't really been paying attention to it, but we hold it for nostalgia's sake. I mean, we still got some small caps laying around here and there, but yeah, that one's starting to come back a little bit. How would you allocate a 100K portfolio for someone the age of 50? Well, good sir, that is a question that we'll probably answer in the latter half of this video, because obviously it doesn't really matter how you've been allocating your portfolio as of late. You could have been throwing darts at a board and absolutely crushing it, but there is speculation. There's obviously fear of a little bit of bubblish, over bullish nature going on in a lot of speculative markets that, I don't think are going to come to, being destroyed anytime soon unless we get some kind of bear market or something that finally swings us in the other direction. But we know it's coming. There's always a correction. There's always a potential crash. They're going to happen in your lifetime, but you can't predict it. That's I think the problem when I make these videos sometimes is I get hyperbolic and I like projecting out the fears and what's going on in the day-to-day, and it's usually a very detrimental thing to do is come on these platforms and over engage in fear-mongering content, because it will make you start speculating on what happens tomorrow. And the reality is we don't know if AI is this revolutionary technology that is going to do massive margin expansion, unlock major new industries and efficiencies. It very much seems that way. And if that comes into fruition, this probably won't look like a bubble, because hell, you could have said the dot-com era was a bubble and it was over-exaggerated. And guess what? It really wasn't. Yes, it pulled ahead a bit of value, but if you were a little bit patient and you bought the dips, you'd have been fine. I guess the whole point of this game, right, is accumulation over time. It's not about I always be buying. That's like the motto in our chat group, is always be buying. Buy the highs, buy the lows, always be buying. Don't even in 2022 when I sold off all my individual stocks, I didn't go into cash. I just put it in ETFs. I was still fully in the market regardless, because I can't predict that shit. So I get too worried about it, right? But yeah, if you threw a dart at the board, doesn't matter whether you're in retirement, doesn't matter really what you're doing. Everyone's celebrating right now because money is being thrown around like crazy. Speculative stuff, covered call ETFs, your Qs, your international, your Chinese, your gold, your commodity. It's really hard not to make money in these kind of crazy bull cycles, right? But let's talk about AI real quick before we get into the meat and potatoes of comments and questions over the week, because it's crazy what I've been watching into the weekend here. I mean, we all remember the original. It's just crazy that this is what we were dealing with 2 years ago. This was the pinnacle of generative videos. They were so choppy and we're okay, this is the worst it's ever going to be, right? It's wild to think that just, an odd 2 years later. And I want to share with you guys, we'll share a little bit of a Casey clip here. I don't know if you guys watch Casey Neistat. He's still pretty nostalgic. Not the biggest fan of him these days, but I do like the fact that he's talking about the meta glasses and a lot of the new tech that's out there. But this really exemplifies, and again, we're talking about video. There's so much more AI out there than just the video, but the video gets all the attention, right? Because we're just shocked at how you can do stuff like this legally. The only thing, again, standing, as we mentioned, between the future of these video generators and just taking over the entire world of content is lawyers, because it's just the value of IP and what's truly authentic, right? I guess, or original.
Sora will grab B-roll while we drive. Traffic, and you're supposed to be driving, not training an AI. It just makes video. I'm not pointing a camera at anyone. Sora will grab B-roll while we drive. Why not? It runs fine on my phone.
Is that crazy?
OpenAI, that is the ChatGPT people, they made a TikTok clone where every video is AI.
Booting Sora right now, are you? Why not? It runs.
Introducing iPhone Micro, the most compact.
You know that Sora has this feature where.
There's a secret.
But the AI videos are all with real people. My analysis, we are so completely fucked.
Step away from the trunk for me. What have you got in the bag?
Stop! Drop the plaques!
They're mine! Put them down right now!
Come on, man! I was just borrowing them!
My husband! He made those! You can't do that!
Yeah, we know, I'm sure you guys have seen these videos. The one that really caught me by storm and is really causing the controversy around IP theft is if you've watched anything like Rick and Morty, any of these cartoons, like they're the easiest things to replicate. And if you're working at these jobs right now, if you're creative directors on these sets, like you're obviously crapping your pants. Like there's no way. It's kind of like people doing stuff for nostalgia. I mean, we were talking about Adam Savage from Mythbusters, right? Like this guy was working on like almost the original Star Wars by taking like foil from candy wrappers and building these little sets that were used in the movie. And we're like, man, like there's so much nostalgia to that handcrafted work that went into that. And now thanks to CGI, like it's completely useless. And the only people still doing it are people that are doing it for nostalgia's sake. And that's the phase we're in here with business, right? Like anybody that is working creatively on these things know right now that they're basically becoming prehistoric very quickly, and they're only doing it for nostalgia's sake, which means the life expectancy of your job is thinning by every day. But we'll watch a little bit of this because this is what we were sharing around in our chat group. Our 7-figure chat group. It's just hilarious.
And we're moving to Canada.
Canada? Like the land of syrup and people who say sorry all the time?
That's right, hun. We'll have a nice little place in Ontario.
No, I don't want to live in Canada. They don't even have real cities, just moose and dumb maple syrup houses.
I wanna move to stupid Canada. Came up north, still shining, got the city on from the north, still shining.
Canada is cool. You guys are gonna miss me when I'm gone, bruh. I'm about to be a straight Toronto baller, okay? Gold chain, OVO courtside at the Raptors, Cartman in the 6, baby.
Right, sure do.
This isn't Toronto. Dude, my mom drags me all the way to Kitchener, Ontario. You know what they have here? Snow and more snow. Oh, and a stupid sign that says welcome, like anyone's excited. They call this a city, but half of it is just a Tim. Nah, I am not working in some dumb coffee place in Kitchener.
Yeah, I'm just shocked, right? Like it's kind of incredible, really. And there's been so many examples of this coming up. I'm sure everyone's seeing. So it's going to be hyper neat. I mean, they're obviously promoting now like AI cast that they want to like air in a bunch of movies. And if this comes into fruition, like this is where we're totally cooked, right? If you haven't seen, what is her name? Tilly Norwood.
Do you think I can star in Hollywood movies if I'm AI generated?
Literally no one wants that to happen. That's me and aspiring AI actor Tilly Norwood, or as I like to call her, Tilly Vanelli.
Yeah, it's kind of incredible, right? And this is like some of the Gemini build outs. But again, I want to remind you, like, if you're working on Excel spreadsheets and coding, you're wiped. Like, it's becoming less and less required for someone with 2 cents in their head to know how to do Excel sheets. I know, like, spreadsheets to like a very bare minimum. Like I work on them just to build out my portfolio trackers and stuff like that. And it's nice to know like the base features on building these out, but like basically everything's a spreadsheet on the internet, right? Like the back end of all websites, like everything is generally spreadsheet generative. And I have friends already that are building websites using AI, which is already insane enough as it is. So I'd love to know what you guys think in the comment section about how cooked we truly are as we quickly hurtle toward what already has only been 2 years in this realm of AI. Toward absolute mass layoffs, and hopefully we can create some new jobs out of it. But I don't know, is it slop? Are we gonna like integrate this? I have no idea, man. But let's get into the comments questions over the week, because yes, it's been damn exciting, hasn't it? And we've got some exciting comments coming out. Hi, Kyle. Been following for a while now. I'm 23 and started investing in 2023. Which is wild. So you started investing when you were 21 years old. You're a G to be starting that early. And now I have $110,000 in investments between his TFSA, RSP, and FHSA. Can you imagine having 110 grand at like 23 years old? I just started a new job that I'll be making nearly 90K a year. You're already probably in the upper percentage of people your age for making that kind of capital. But I can't help but feel behind. I live in the GTA, and man, it's expensive no matter what. Take a lot of inspiration from what you do. Also, I have sold that Juggernog mini fridge yet. Still want that. Unfortunately, I did sell that privately, not through my YouTube here. And I don't think I discussed it too much, but that's for the nerds that play Call of Duty Zombies. Regardless, you're crushing it, bro. And I think the only way, so I don't know how to explain it, because you're probably getting in that unhealthy mindset that I grew up with, which is that scarcity mindset. I don't think it's the most healthy way to approach investing, but I mean, it's gotten me in the position that I'm in. And now I'm actually starting to feel the alleviation of like financial pressures around me. But it's a good reminder, like to just go, like the only way you can relieve that pressure a little bit is go to a compound calculator, which obviously, I mean, where's my compound calculator here? I mean, it's not like this is a guarantee. I mean, the future is never guaranteed, but you know, the past has anything to say about it. Hopefully we get some reliability. But even if you have 100 grand and you don't put like another dollar in your investment accounts, bro, you've got like 40 years ahead of you at 10%. Like if you just work your job and live your life, like you're going to end up a multi-millionaire by the time you're in retirement. So I'm hoping that alleviates your stress, because like I didn't have anything when I was 23. I just finished paying off $20,000 worth of debt. And I think in 2019, I had my first 100K, which was crazy because that was only like 6 years ago. And now like my fiance and I are, you know, well over a milli, which is kind of wild to consider. And how fast that money starts to compound when you get into that 6-figure range, especially with the income that you're generating. But I get it. I mean, you're probably paying what? If you're trying to live comfortably, it's like $3,000 a month for rent. So, I mean, your take home, what's your take home pay after that? Let's just use the wealth simple tax calculator here. I'm really curious to see how you're living in the GTA with your income, because I mean, there's obviously cheaper places to live if you're not in any like the major cities. You can usually get, I mean, if you're moving out as far as like Aurora, Newmarket, I'm pretty sure you can get rent probably closer to 2,500, maybe around there. But regardless, if you're making 90K a year of employment income, I mean, you're walking away with $67,000. So yeah, I'd be curious to, I mean, the cost of living is getting pretty high on, but 67K is still reasonable. I mean, if you're paying 2,500 a month, you're living pretty reasonably over 12 months. That's 30 grand a year. Like half your paycheck there is almost just going to rent, which is kind of wild. But man, you've got 100K. You know, if you can live on 50 and bank 17 a year, you're doing pretty damn good for yourself. Pretty damn good for yourself. Meta is toxic to humanity. So here's the funny thing about that I always find about social media. Do you remember the election when it was going on, and like, if let's just use the US as an example, you could do the same in Canada, but if you're scrolling on TikTok or YouTube or whatever you're scrolling on, and you keep seeing specific things, like you'll either keep seeing stuff maybe in the US about Trump, if you like Trump and you keep watching Trump content, that's all you're going to see. If you're into Kamala during that, all you would see is stuff from Kamala Harris. And you end up getting warped in your mind thinking that like, oh, Kamala has to win, because like the social media platforms just feed you what you want to see. They want to keep you on the platform. So like sitting here and saying Meta is toxic or a platform is toxic, it really only becomes toxic if you engage in toxic behavior, because like they want you to engage in the platform. So if you see something that's rage inducing and you watch the whole rage inducing video and then you comment in the video and start arguing with people, which are probably fake comments anyways, just to rage engagement to keep the video pushing so they make more money off your clicks, like it's a self kind of feeding system. So like if you get into the death scroll and you just keep seeing a certain kind of content, it's more of a reflection of you than perhaps the social media platform itself, because the platform's just saying, hey, I know you're going to watch this, so I'm going to keep giving it to you. And if you keep, I mean, of course they can be toxic, right? But they can also be like the greatest way humans have ever connected ever. You know, I'm kind of like, I'm pretty sure, and I've come to this conclusion with any job that you work at, if you become truly integrated in any industry, you're going to realize that there's two sides. Life is a gray area. There's no certainty. There's no morality in the perspective of life, right? Like, you know, unfortunately, that's just the way it is. We give morals, good, bad, things that we kind of perspective into reality. But look at tobacco giants. We know tobacco gives you cancer and you die. Are we investing in tobacco stocks? Yeah, of course. I mean, they're part of the largest indexes. They're some of the largest companies in the world. We don't banish them. We know alcohol has no real benefit except gives you cancer and cuts your life expectancy, but we don't seem to be putting warning labels on that. Yeah, like, you know, it's the same thing with social media, same thing with any job you work at. You see nefarious things major companies do all the time. Like there's always these gray areas of morality, you know, philosophical debates you can have around it. So I hate when people say, oh, social media is just bad. It's like, okay, we can have a debate about it. Why do you think it's bad, right? Why is it toxic? And how are you engaging with it? And, you know, is that an example of humanity? You know, are humans just naturally inclined to want to do this stuff? Probably, but can we evolve out of it? Who the hell knows? Anyways, moving on. What else we got here? I think you do yourself and anyone listening a disservice by continuing to bash the people purchasing or recommending covered call ETFs. It's time to stop with the rhetoric and insults and become passionately compassionate and informative. So I get this comment. I get it. I can be a hyperbolic douchebag on this platform, and I get it, and I enjoy it. I have been a troll my whole life, and I live in a generation now where it's really hard to be a troll, and you kind of got to bite your tongue, because if you're too much of a troll, people will dig up who you are and absolutely destroy your life. I am somebody that lives in the world of reality. And when something doesn't line up with what we know to be true, and there's a whole generation of people getting sucked into something that is going to largely detriment their future as an entertainer, as a influencer clown that has no financial degree, no purpose to be telling you what to do with your life, I'm going to sit here and entertain you at hopes it sparks interest in your mind to question maybe why I'm battering the crap out of these people. Because I'm just here, you know, as a guy that does his own clown tomfoolery. I'm not perfect, obviously. You can criticize me all you want. But I mean, if you look at the landscape of what goes on today, I think we need a little more criticism to be a little bit more, you know, questioning what goes on, especially like in the realm of finance on YouTube, because, you know, it's one of these things where it's just like 2022 all over again, guys. I don't know. There's good. Some of these people deserve to be bashed. Everyone deserves to be bashed a little bit. I mean, grow some skin, man. I was in the entertainment industry. You know, every day I got bashed. People would read me out all the time. We're just talking about it. I was just at a family event. I was telling the guy to get up and do a speech. And he's just like, I wasn't a magician like you, bro. I'm not doing this public speaking shit. And it's like, you just get used to it. You got to have some thick skin, man. It's the way the world works. You can't be too much of a cupcake these days. Take the criticism, you know, ask yourself why. Maybe there's reason for it, or move on. It's the way the world works. Hey, Kyle, as someone who listens to both you and Adriano, the guy that pushes a full portfolio of covered call ETFs that I think is absolutely ridiculous, I really like the idea of having covered call ETFs to offset market dips and any temptation to sell. So this is the psychological game I've been discussing with people, and this is the only reason people buy covered call ETFs. And you're kind of being misconstrued here in the sense that if the market dips, your covered call ETFs have all the same downside. You keep thinking that, like, people keep selling this idea, oh, it cushions the downside. Yeah, from the premium that you're getting, yeah, okay, you're getting a little bit of income, but regardless, the underlying assets and everything you're holding will go down with the market, and they won't go up when the market goes back up in the same tandem. So you get all the downside risk, but none of the upside return. And yet somehow these people on Blossom are pushing, look, I made a record dividend, 100K off a 400K portfolio. I've got a 30% yield. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Who talks like that? You want to know who talks like that? Clowns. People that don't want to talk about total returns, don't want to talk about how real money gets made in the market. They want to persuade people and get clicks and drive views and generate capital off a YouTube channel. But when you listen to real financial advisors like Ben Felix, or people that actually have, and I'm a clown, don't listen to me. I think Ben Felix is an exemplifier of somebody that probably knows what he's talking about. We're not going to watch this, but just take a quick listen to the beginning because I think it's hilarious.
I was not going to make another video on covered calls, but I was at a retail investor conference recently. That's me and the Plain Bagel up on stage. And I spent the day talking to retail investors. It struck me how hard the conference attendees were being sold on covered call funds and how frequently I was being asked about them. When I made my last video on this topic, I honestly did not realize how widespread this financial bullshit had become. These products are likely to be detrimental to long-term investors, including those who need income. And I think it's important for the truth about what they should be expected to do to be articulated in an understandable way. I'm Ben Felix, Chief Investment Officer at PWL Capital, and I'm going to tell you again why the passive income from covered calls is financial bullshit.
So the reason that he's going to make this video, and I know exactly what all these passive income covered call guys are going to come up and say, and they're going to be like, yeah, but they still make money, and I don't have to sell it when it's down. And they don't talk about the risk of having to sell and time the market. And it's like, you don't time the market when you sell. Like, it's so ludicrous to me that a company generates income and they either reinvest it and add like value to the company or they pay it out as a dividend, right? But what you're doing with covered calls is just such a different game altogether. It's such a peculiar game. And they're so diluted in this mindset of never selling a share. But you know what all of them do? What all of them do is they fuck around with their portfolios nonstop. Everything they own right now is something that's only existed for like a year or two and has no real track record behind it. And they're sitting here being like, but look at it. If you look at it at this time frame, it actually outperforms. It's like, oh my God, from like every foundation of like financial literacy, like there's no track record, extreme like volatility, giving up all the upside in real bull markets. And again, they're going to cherry pick data and whatnot, but go watch the video. It's really entertaining to me and I love watching it. And I'm a guy that actually likes covered call ETFs. That's the perplexing reality behind me bullshitting on this. Like, I have no problem with them. If, again, you want to make them a percentage of your portfolio to try and there's good covered call ETFs that will generate returns, but you still need to accept the reality that they're detrimenting. Like even in retirement, if you're 60 years old, there's nothing wrong with being more income oriented, but the volatility of that income is crazy. It's very inconsistent over a long time to get covered calls that actually raise the dividends over time. They don't meet the purpose of, and that's like basically the synopsis of that video is he just ends up saying like, I would never give my client a covered call ETF. But as this guy says, like capping them at 5 to 10% of my portfolio works for me. Also, what editing software do you use to make your videos? I'm just using Final Cut because it's a non-subscription based editing software, just FYI, on the MacBook. But regardless, like, yeah, same with my parents. Like if you're in retirement, I think you can pick a few of these if you just want to bump some income that you don't want to deal with. But there's just no way it is logical to make an entire portfolio of these and act like it's the best thing to do and you can justify it. It's absolute lunacy, right? And yet there's like a whole onslaught of yield maxers now, which the only one getting rich from these are yield max. Like look at Alti, man. Like these are just disgusting ETFs, guys. They're just disgusting. And the only ones getting rich are yield max. Let's be real. You got to accept it, man. You just got to accept the reality for what it is. But they're always going to come up with some excuse or some denial or, go back to their hole because why? You guys watch it. They get sponsors, they get views, more views than I get. It's like you get why people are doing it because there's 80% distributions. You can't, like, I don't know how you can shill 30 to 80% yields and not think of yourself as a financial clown. I'm like the only one that's willing to admit that I'm a clown, and I've annualized, like, I think average 19% over a decade. And yet someone's going to sit here and tell me why I'm wrong and these guys are right and making a 30% dividend. Yet I guarantee you their returns are way less than mine. Way less. And who would you rather be? The guy that has the $1 million or the guy that somehow got $1 million and has that all in covered call ETFs? And his returns are absolute garbage, right? Like it's hilarious to me. I mean, look at Alti. Since inception, it's annualized 9%. So they're going to sit here and tell you like, it's made money though. It's made money, guys. It's done okay. It's done okay. I paid a massive 1% fee to underperform the market, but it's done good. It's done great. Thoughts on ZQQ. ZQQ, this is a NASDAQ, and we'll get into some of these ETFs you guys have been asking me about for your retirement portfolios. I think, to be fair, I will put this out there, is I would rather own, if you're going to buy like a NASDAQ 100 ETF for like technology, I'd still prefer that you just own it in the US dollar denominated asset. And even if you're not opening a US account, you can still trade US tickers. It'll just automatically convert. And considering this isn't dividend income oriented, I'd probably be fine just buying the Qs. I'm not a big fan of like CAD hedged ETFs. Sometimes you get the one for one with like VFV where it's like converted over, but regardless, to each their own. I mean, so long as you're investing here, the returns have been nothing short of astonishing because let's be real, the QQQs have crushed it. So you're getting double-digit returns. Obviously, if you're younger, I like leaning into growth. I'm obviously 33. I'm still more growth oriented. I mean, we're mostly S&P. I've got some technology. I mean, we've got quite a few individual tech companies. I think 15 to 20% of our portfolio, I think probably closer to 20% of our portfolio is in individual tech stocks that we've hand weighted over buying something like the Qs. So you probably won't go too wrong with that. I'd like to have your opinion on this, please. I'm 100% concentrated in the USA, Canada, and multiple ETFs like VDY, VFV, HXQ, VCE, and I'd like to add some world ETFs too. Instead of buying VEQT, what do you think about just buying VEE in emerging markets and VIU, developed ex North American? And mostly, do you have a favorite one between the two? Or would you do a 50-50 split between these? So I've never actually looked into these two ETFs, but we can just kind of graze through them. Firstly, VEE, which doesn't really show me the holdings on here, but it's got a starting yield of a 2.19%, reasonable management fee at 0.25%. If we look at the returns here, since inception, it's been around 6-7%, which is more in line. Recently, they've been crushing it, obviously. But yeah, these emerging market ETFs have only recently started to perform exceptionally well. If we look at the holdings, firstly, in this VEE ETF, we can see that you're getting Taiwan Semiconductors, which is actually highly weighted at 9.4%, Tencent, Alibaba. So you're mostly getting 34% China, 20% Taiwan, 20% India. I actually like this ETF. I've got nothing really against it. Comparably to, if we take a look at VIU, which has a very similar expense ratio, fairly similar dividend. The returns are fairly similar. like, because again, it's just giving you different exposure to some other global market investments. If we take a look, you're getting 23% Japan, 13% United Kingdom. How much is China weighted in here? This one actually doesn't look like it has China in it, does it? Or am I not seeing it here? So this one might be, Hong Kong's in here though. So maybe this one's excluding China. But if we take a look at the holdings in this one, you're getting ASML, SAP, Astra, Nestle, Samsung. This one's way more diversified. Yeah, I think you could pair both these together. I mean, they're both great ETFs. Personally, if you're into dividend income, I think what you can do, and I'll give you a quick recommendation here of something that I like for income, it's highly diversified, is ZDI. I've talked about buying like the US version of this from Vanguard. I can't remember the exact, I think it was VYMI might be the Vanguard one for US. But if you're Canadian and you want like diversified international exposure, I think this is a good one. Personally, the expense ratio is a tad bit higher here at 0.44%. The reality is it trades in Canadian dollars. It gives you a 3.4% yield. I think it holds like 9,000 stocks or something crazy. And you're getting things like Rio Tinto, Toyota's in here, Nestle's in here, a lot of great companies across the board. I think British American Tobacco's in here. It's 25% financials, 14% healthcare. I think you can find a lot of ETFs like this that I think are reasonable. Anything below 0.5% expense ratio is fairly good in my books. I think if you buy each one of these, you'll be doing just fine. I think you're on the right path anyways. You're picking several ETFs that give you global market exposure. Go for it. If you want an all-in-one ETF, most people would say, why not just consolidate it into XEQT or VEQT? To each their own. I think you can split that up between your accounts, whatever makes most sense for you. But anyways, let's get into some of the comments, questions. We'll scroll back up to the top here and see what we've been missing with what's been going on with Kyle. Evening, I was wondering if you still had some Aduro. A lot of you have been asking me about Aduro. I'm going to do a video on it shortly. I still have some Aduro, just like I still have some MindMed. I like Aduro where it's at here. It's kind of an interesting story. A bit of a it's a momentum stock, right? And it's more story oriented, so it does come with a little bit more volatility and risk. But I do think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with the company over the next year. And it is on path to being $1 billion market cap by the looks of it. So, we definitely called that one to a T, which is really nice considering we've been holding it. I don't show the small caps as much in my portfolio because I do talk about them. I do get a lot of sponsors on this channel for reviewing small caps and precious metal junior explorers. Pretty hot right now. But the reason I don't show them, and I've said this multiple times, is I don't like people presuming, and the reason I talk about my portfolio still is I just don't want people presuming that's like all of my attention. Because you see a lot of YouTubers out there, they don't talk about their portfolios, and all they talk about is Palantir, or all they talk about is Tesla, or Rocket Labs, or this or that, or Hood. And it doesn't give you a good example of how to build a proper structured portfolio. I really don't think high speculations should be like a material part of your portfolio, but I think it's appropriate if you're into those kind of stocks to not go like turn away from them. But if you like those sectors, if you like Aduro, I don't have anything against buying it, right? Like I've made a fortune on small cap stocks. I just don't show them in my portfolio as much because they're a smaller percentage overall. And they do come with a lot of volatility. As I showed you guys in my Royal Bank account, I've had stocks that are absolutely flying like Aduro, but I have other stocks and private placements that aren't doing as well. So I'm still beating the S&P, but it's kind of like this ebb and flow nature where some are doing great, some aren't doing so great. And you're just trying to let the chips fall where they may. And that's the volatility of small caps. You just got to be a bit careful with them. But I do love Aduro a lot. And I think it's a really fascinating sector and the technology that's still largely underappreciated. But nonetheless, I'm around 55% on Google. I plan to hold long-term, and it has moved up to around 6% of my portfolio. Would you trim some gains, or should I just hold? I'm 29, tons of time. I mean, if it's 6% of your portfolio, I wouldn't really care, honestly. I mean, that's pretty unimpactful. Like I said, when I was buying Google, I made it 10% of my portfolio. It ballooned pretty massively. Plus, it's also upper weighted in the S&P. Like I said, between my fiance and I, we became over 20% of our portfolio between Google and Meta. And that was obviously just incredibly aggressive. And it's illogical because black swans do happen. And it's great when it works out. But trust me, when it doesn't work out, if my portfolio dropped, if those two stocks dropped 30 to 50%, like I would materially take a massive impact. So I wanted a bit more diversity because I think anything around 5 or 6%, who cares? If you want to hold it long term. So for me, like I'm trying to invest away from those stocks now. And even if they grow to 6%, let's be real. Can you not go out and make $5,000 or $10,000 over the coming 6 months, whatever? And if you just buy a different stock, you can easily de-weight Google pretty quickly if it's only 6% of your portfolio. Hey, Kyle, can you take a look at VVPR real quick? Looks massively undervalued. VVPR, what is that? The Vivo Power International. Is this like it's up 283% this year. It's still down a lot. Let's just take a quick peek at it and see what you're talking about here. I'll take a quick look. I have no idea what this is. I'm presuming it's probably some power-oriented company. Let's take a quick look at the financials here. Before we know what the company is, let's just see. Firstly, the revenues in 2024 were abysmal. The company seems to be barely profitable. What is going on with their revenues here? Why has their revenues gone down to nothing? Balance sheet, they have a lot more liabilities than they do assets. The base, this is a story stock for sure. And I wonder why they're up a lot. There's got to be some underlying reason the stock's doing well. What is this? Sustainable Energy Solutions. Is this some crypto thing focused on delivering internet and electricity and internet value solutions to the world? I don't know what this is, but obviously a bit more of a riskier investment. Digital assets, electric vehicles, power to X. Yeah, you're gonna have to do your own due diligence on this one. Obviously, this with these companies doing these Bitcoin and like treasuries is kind of perplexing to me. It's a really weird world we live in where, a lot of companies are flying because of crypto treasuries. So to each their own. I don't know. I'd have to do more research on it. It sounds like a story stock, though. It doesn't seem like fundamentals are driving a lot of the flow, unless I'm missing something. Fortis and Finning and Outco. Oh my. It works. Kyle, if you want to see if we are at peak of market, look at quantum computing space, pulling forward so much value. Yeah, those are the stocks. But again, so let's use 2021 as an example, right? There's always an exemplifier to each bull cycle. There's always like some kind of canary in the coal mine, let's say, that is showing that we're in a risk on environment that isn't healthy. And I think, yes, quantum computing stocks are way too overvalued. I mean, you look at companies that aren't profitable that are driving a lot of the AI right now, like Oklo, right? Like uranium players, like they don't even make money for like those micro nuclear reactors, like modular. They don't make any money yet. They're trading at like, how much is Oklo at today? I mean, like we're getting used to stocks just going parabolic all the time now, and it's really easy to make money, and it's a great market environment for it. But yeah, I mean, we all get that it's a hype market right now. And in 2021, right, like it was NFTs, crypto, a lot of crypto stuff. What else was there? There's so much stuff in 2021. Pokemon cards. I mean, you can't even sell a Charizard right now for half, like a quarter. I think it's like a quarter less than you probably could have got one for during 2021. Like there's a lot of stuff just going bananas, right? And now we're in a new market where I think, again, it's going to be the yield maxers. It's going to be the quantum. It's going to be a lot of these high flying stocks. Like there's going to be a reckoning, right? So just be careful. I mean, if you own good assets, then who cares? This is the whole point. I think you can play these assets. This is why I like playing the sectors a little bit. So you just want to be a little cautious and make sure you're properly weighted. What do you think about VIDY? I think somebody was asking about this because it's like another great performing, it's the Vanguard FTSE Development North American High Dividend Yield ETF. Yeah, this one's been crushing it, right? 26.28% year to date. This comes back into some of the international market returns, I think. Let's just take a look here. So this one has a 2.77% yield, reasonable expense ratio, 0.32%. The returns are kind of coming back up at 10%, pretty healthy, annualized. That's not bad. But recently, most of that's what's been actualized only recently, right? What are the holdings here? So we're Nestle. This is a great ETF. Like this is very similar to the ones we were just talking about, right? Like very diversified. There's probably like 1,000 stocks in here. Reasonable. I think you can go with the BMO one if you want a bit of a higher yield, but yeah, this is a great ETF. I have nothing against this. I think this would be really good. Are covered calls a running joke here? It's brought up often. Yeah, because it's fun, right? Like I used to make fun of so many other YouTubers. Like I love making fun of other YouTubers. Like Meet Kevin was a bit of a clown there for a while. These guys were like back in the day pumping like FTX. There's another guy I used to make fun of a lot. Everything Money, I think, is kind of hilarious. He's kind of like a rich what do you call him? A trust fund baby that just seems to disregard like common sense investing, like having an emergency fund. Like some of the shit he says, like, oh my, this stupid own cheap cars, like he lives in such a rich neighborhood and he's around so many rich people. Like some of his comments are pretty diluted. He's fun to make fun of, but I just like the covered calls because it's a Canadian thing. Like covered calls are such a Canadian thing, and it's all these Canadian influencers. My family talks about it. My friends ask about it. So I love talking about it. And I love kind of reaming into it, writing a Waymo. There's been some funny videos with the AI and the Waymo stuff too. Do you think in 5 years everyone will be riding public transport with AI glasses, watching AI, AI? We know what we're talking about, on their daily commute? Yeah, I think the world, and me and my mom were talking about this today, actually, what the world's going to look like in 5 years. And I think it's 5-10 years from now, it's going to be unrecognizable to some degree. I mean, there's so much nostalgia being a 90s kid, like just going, like living in a generation where we just weren't using phones the way we were. Like I remember having a flip phone, and I remember I hated texting because like each number, there was 9 numbers on the keypad or whatever. And like, there's 3 letters to a number, and you have to click through each letter to type a word. It was so insane to try and text, unless you had a BlackBerry when they came out, which was still pretty advanced back then. And it was still like later than the traditional flip phones. But yeah, it's just so weird, the world we even live in now. And like when you watch like these political assassinations and all this stuff that goes on in like geopolitics around the world, it's so weird because you can't hide anything anymore. It's just like instant information, and it's there constantly. It's just so, I don't know if like, I like the world we're moving toward, and I'm always very optimistic about it. Obviously, I can be pessimistic with the job losses, and I get there's going to be issues, but generally I'm an optimistic guy. It's how I got rich. You do not get rich being a pessimist unless you're very lucky, like the 2008 financial crisis, which is nobody ever, except for like 1 or 2 dudes. Let's be real. But most people win in life being optimistic about their employment, their job, their education, and always looking for the opportunities. But regardless, it's going to be weird. It's going to be weird. I have nostalgia for the past, but I kind of have some, like, I like the future a bit. I don't know. It's just weird. Do you guys feel like media is getting burnt out too? Like there's the golden era of media, I think, is kind of dying a bit too. Like you remember like how much you used to rewatch movies and like how hard hitting some movies could be and like the art behind it. And now it's just like we're churning media so much. It kind of lost, like you watch something like that was incredible. Severance was incredible. Wednesday, great Netflix shows, but now we're over it. What's next? It's just like, there's always this, things don't have time to like permeate in a major way anymore. It's just like, everyone has these little subcategories in their own little worlds they live in. We joke with my buddy about becoming like, you can become, what's it called? Not an extremist, but radicalized. That the internet can radicalize you. Like that lady saying that the internet is toxic. If you're into like radical information, it's like Meta, TikTok will just feed you, and the internet can radicalize you today. I think it's crazy, right? That you can just go down rabbit holes that make you like a crazy conspiracy. Like it's just wild. We live in really weird times, where fact, even though everything is so factual and so like, even Gemini, with how logical and how great it is at even designing a portfolio, like I think Gemini does better designing portfolios than most financial advisors, yet someone's still going to sit here and argue to me why covered calls as a total portfolio is better. And it serves certain needs better. It's like, and people are so dumb. It's just crazy how dumb people are with how good information is today. We live in such perplexing times. At least when people were dumb back in the day, like you'd have to go look at a book or look it up, and you'd have to go ask somebody and hope they were right. But like, it wasn't as crazy as it is today with how available that information is and how we still argue about it. Oh God, it's so weird. I tried to touch some grass today, but even the grass is AI. Yeah. So fucking true, bro. It's so fucking true. Oh my God, I am too. This is crazy. Do you see the guy in the red tie? What about something like, 86% distributions law? I know, it's crazy. What else are you guys talking about? I can't stand some of the new movies or show. It feels like it's recycled 9 or 10 times. Same with video games, right? Like I'm such a video game nerd, and me and my buddies grew up like obsessed with zombies, Call of Duty, Halo, and now like new games just don't hit. And I think it's because we're stuck in between like a generational cycle where we're going to get a massive upgrade with the next PlayStations and Xboxes that are coming out. But in the meantime, with the constraints that the video game designers are playing within, they're just trying to like constantly churn something every year. And people are just getting tired of the same recycled shit. So I don't think anything great comes up. But with movies, I don't know. Is this generative stuff going to take over movies and we'll be more entertained by making our own media? I don't know. It's going to be weird. I think my job's at risk. I think a lot of people's jobs are at risk. It's going to be weird. There's good stuff made still, but there's just so much shit that you don't revisit anything. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. My wife is wondering if EA buyout will ruin Sims 3. Do you guys do a lot of the like games with your friends? I mean, mobile gaming now is like the #1 category, and like me and my fiance, we do like the mini crossword. We do a lot of that stuff for fun. I don't play mobile games like I used to, though. I used to be in like the balloons, like tower defense games. But honestly, the only thing I play religiously is VR. I live on VR now. It's like my go-to place for video gaming, I guess. Battlefield Online is still awesome. Yeah, I heard the new Battlefield was really good. A lot of people like that. I don't think there will be a new Xbox. They're killing it with price increases. Yeah, I still think that we have to get an upgrade. I mean, the software and the hardware is so outdated. Among Us was so players during the pandemic. Oh yeah, Among Us. Oh, it's nostalgic. Oh my God. That was like the best thing about the pandemic. I don't know if you played that game, but like what we would do is open up. We had a WhatsApp group of friends like all over the world, like in the US, Canada, and there was just like a dozen of us, and we would just shoot a text. Hey, you guys want to play Among Us tonight? And we'd all get on a group call, like a people do with Discord these days, and we'd just be in a WhatsApp group just playing Among Us. Oh man, that was peak, man. That was like, there were some peak times during the pandemic, as bad as it was. You can't beat the nostalgia playing COD with your friends online as a teenager. I agree, man. I totally agree. Yeah, it's weird becoming an adult, man. Is there something so weird getting into your 30s and just looking back on how much it's changed in the last 10 or 15 years? And I'm getting like crazy nostalgia peak these days. And I buy weird nostalgic shit. Like, I mean, look at like my Zelda Majora's Mask, which is super awesome. My fiance got that as a gift. Those things were really expensive. There's like one really good designer that makes them super awesome. I also have my super awesome 1980 Copperfield poster that cost me like $1,000 I only got recently, and I still obsess over it. I don't know if you guys are into Magic, but I'll show you real quick. I'm not going to show you the one on my wall. I don't want to drag it out of the living room, but I'll show you this poster right here. It took me 2 damn years to find this. In my Magic era, like Copperfield was like peak for me. And then like, look at this. This poster right here, man, took me 2 years. 2 years for me to find this thing. And look at it, sold last at auction. This was from like years ago for $325. With shipping, the stupid tariffs and everything, it took me to get this to my fucking door was like, I think I spent $800 on it, but I spent years looking for this poster. Oh God, like this is huge nostalgia for me, man. When I was growing up in the 90s, like I was obsessed with Magic and like Copperfield and stuff, but Magic's dead, theater's a dying form. Like everyone's moving on from this shit. If you ever go to a theater and watch any live shows these days, like you'll notice that you'll probably be the youngest person in the audience. It's really kind of sad. I'm such a theater kid, man. I wasn't into sports, but I was such a theater kid. What would be your plan if you wanted to own a home in Canada if you were a young adult in your 20s? Become part of the investing class. Simple. No, so it's not like, I get people want to complain about housing, but housing is affordable. I don't think it's unaffordable. I don't think it's unattainable. I think what people complain about is that they want to live in Toronto. They want to live in like a major metropolitan area where real estate costs like fucking $800,000 to $1 million. I get that it is unaffordable, but there's so many affordable places. And I get that there might not be as much work there, but then, hey, guess what? Like the rest of the world, you got to commute, you got to do things. But now with modular housing, you can look at maybe buying something in a cheaper area, get a plot of land and just buy modular attached houses. There, like we ran the math on it and we came to the conclusion you could easily do it for under $500,000 in cottage country, like an hour north of Toronto. I mean, there's a lot of ways to make housing starting out affordable. And I mean, it's like even our parents struggled. I mean, I looked at what my parents bought. My parents bought a condemned farm. Yeah, you're not really going to buy a condemned farm these days for the same price, sure. But I mean, they fixed it up with their hands. They did the hard work. Everyone's got to kind of put in their, like, you got to earn it, right? So I just like do what I did, become part of the investing class, find cheap places to rent, live with a group of people in a dorm, live with your parents. Yeah, even if you have to pay your parents rent so people aren't like, oh, you're taking advantage. Like, just do what you have to do to get ahead, man. That's what we all had to do. But I promise you, if you got to be a part of the investing class, because if you're not, you're going to get left behind like there's no tomorrow. The only reason I could afford a house in this crazy city at a condo was just because we invested for a decade. The pandemic is half the reason we were able to buy a condo. If you look at tech, Kyle, blockchain was huge thing now. It is AI adoption thing, changed a whim. I don't know if blockchain has been adopted yet. I think I don't know. I have a love-hate relationship with crypto. I don't want to get into it right now. I made a video on it and I never posted it because I just felt like I was a little too bashy on it because I get there's technology still behind it, but everyone's just pumping it again. I think it's overvalued today. I think there's some future for it, but I think it's expensive. And it's a very speculative still aspect of the market. Freak only way to afford a house, Canada, is to inherit one from your parents. I don't think so. See, I think people like to shit on themselves. I think people like to underestimate their potential. I just think, yeah, it's not cheap in major metropolitan areas, but don't live in a major city. Go find, do what you have to do to make it work. Move to a small town. I mean, I grew up in a small town and people commuted to the city every day for work. My friends that live in the small town I grew up in, the guy's a crane operator. He drives to the city every day. And I've never heard him complain about work or a house affordability or anything. So I hate that people complain, because complaining is like, I've given up. There's no hope. It's just out of my price range. It's like, okay, well, maybe if I invest, if I get a 10% rate of return and I can make 70, 80K a year at my job, and I live with some guys for a few years in a dorm and I just fight, and it's like the Super Bowl. I'm young. I can hustle for 2 years, live on ramen, beans, and just be frugal about it. Maybe I can come up with 6 figures as a down payment. And maybe I can make that down payment large enough that the monthly payment's going to be severely reduced. And then I can even start banking and maybe keeping a little bit money aside for investments and just make sure I'm balanced. And that's all we did. That's all you have to do. It's not fucking rocket science. Don't come to fucking Markham in the GTA and Richmond Hill and be like, oh my God, guys, how am I ever going to afford to live here? It's like going to the Hamptons or going to San Francisco or New York and being like, oh my God, guys, unaffordable. How am I? This is dumb. It's stupid. I mean, it's just stupid to have that argument, in my opinion. Go work for it, man. Go prove yourself. It's possible. Everyone can still do it. It's not going to be easy. Nothing's easy in life. Nothing's going to get handed to you. I'm in a small town in Canada. Average house price is 600 grand for a complete dump. Yeah, I mean, it's just the way it is to some extent, depending on where you are. I mean, they're getting more expensive in Calgary and Edmonton, but there's nice houses you can buy. I've seen great houses for $500,000. I mean, houses up in the small town where I grew up, I mean, you could easily get do what my cousins have done. I've seen people buy, smaller homes for $300,000 to $500,000, and then they put some effort into it, save up some money, build an addition onto it. Not just Toronto. Barrie is overpriced. It depends on how you define overpriced. The market's exploding, right? It's gone up, but now we've seen corrections. I mean, prices have come down materially depending on where you're buying. Again, I don't know what you guys are looking at. I still look at home prices, even in my area here, and I still see condos $500,000-600K. I don't think a $600,000 property is that crazy expensive. I think if you think you're going to work a $50K a year job and you're living a lifestyle of a comfortable lifestyle with kids and stuff, yeah, you're probably not going to have an easy time affording a $600K house. I get that aspect of it. Like I said, nothing is just going to be handed to you in that sense. You have to work for it. And I think a 600 to 700K house is nice. I mean, our condo was in the 600s, guys, and it's 1,300 square feet. And I think this is super nice and luxurious for my style of living, for sure. But this is low end for where we are. I mean, most of the places around here are $800K a mil plus. But I think you got to start normalizing in your head how you adjust for that. And that's by investing. I think you can't just look at a 50K salary and complain. You got to find a way to be a bit more frugal, save some money, do what your parents did. Were your parents not broke like mine? My parents worked fucking hard, like farmers, grit and grind, built the house from scratch basically with their hands. And I don't hear them complaining, oh, unaffordable shit. They bought a condemned property, for Christ's sakes. It was a shithole. I can show you photos of it. I grew up in it, and it's crazy to see photos of what it was to over a decade of what my parents put into it. And they didn't complain once, even though it was all they could afford, So I don't know. To each their own. People from BC are flooding the houses. No markets in small town Saskatchewan. It's actually crazy to see houses move in a few weeks where they used to sit on the market for a few years. So yeah, it's really neat too right now, right? Because I think the market's going to start coming back a bit. But again, I think right now is the best time to buy a house, and I think it's going away quickly because I think volume's starting to pick up a little bit. I mean, there's a lot of volume coming to the market, but sales are slowly starting to pick back up. We're seeing houses in Markham still selling actually quite quickly, and they're in pretty nice areas, but they're very expensive houses. And with interest rates coming down, the affordability should start to go up a little bit. Only way to home ownership is marrying wealthier. And I don't think so, man. I really don't think so. 500K will buy a shack. That's about break. I mean, let's look it up. Let's just do a little experiment here. Let's just take a look. Let's look at where do you guys think's more affordable? Like East Quillenberry. Let's take a look at real estate in East Quillenberry. Real estate, East Quillenberry. And that's a pretty nice area these days. I'm just picking a random place, because I think it's pretty commutable to the city. East Quillenberry. Let me pull this up real quick. Buy real estate, East Quillenberry. So if you guys don't know, this is just a little bit north of the city, but let's just take a look and see what's kind of going on here. Yeah, houses, brand new house builds are crazy here. Let's just pick a price point. I just want to see what you're getting for that price in some of these areas right now. And then maybe we'll take a look even a little bit farther north, because my brother bought a really reasonable house for about $500,000 up in Cottage Country a couple years back. But let's just take a look. Let's just say our max price right now, let's just say we're maybe looking for 600,000, 650. What do we get? So yeah, here's some really small, like these look like trailer park homes. Like, yeah, here's a little kind of shack going on for 625. Let's just take a look at this. Is there anything? Let's take a look here. Yeah, these look like, so this looks like the future of homes right here. Like here's a 700 square foot. This looks like one of those like plopped homes you get on Amazon. Is that really 160K? I wonder where that would be. That seems pretty cheap. So here's a lot. Yeah, I guess you can buy lots for 400,000. Let's just take a look at a reasonable home instead of maybe some of these trailer park homes. So let's take a look at this little hut. What are we buying here for 600K? So, oh wow, this is actually a pretty big house. This is 1,200 square feet, guys. This isn't even that small. So 11 to 1,500 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 1 bath. It looks a lot smaller than that, though, for some reason. It actually looks pretty done out on the inside. This does not look like a bad starter home, all things considered. It actually looks like a pretty decent little starter home. Yeah, it's not cheap. I mean, it is a bit pricey at $625, but I don't think that's that bad. I think for a young couple or somebody that's saved up for several years or maybe like 5 years, they worked really hard from like the time they were maybe 19 or 20, 25, maybe getting 25 to 30 if you start in your 20s. This probably isn't that far out of reach for a normal person if they're diligent with their capital, right? What else is floating around? Like, give me a place. Like, this is not that far out of the city, by the way. Let me show you where this is. East, unless you want to live in the trailer park, which looks pretty affordable, but East Quillenberry. I spelt that horribly wrong. Jesus. Quillenberry. Guys, why can't I spell? I'm like dyslexic about this. 1401 Center Street. Jesus, man. I just want to show you guys where this is because I'm pretty familiar. Yeah, I guess it's more Mount Albert area. Yeah, look at where this is. Like, these are just quaint little towns that aren't too far out of the city, right? And they're right on the major highway. You're not too far from the 404 in the city. I mean, these are the places you have to look. Like, you got to go out to Bowmanville, let's say. Like, Bowmanville, straight shoot highway. You could take a train into the city. Let's take a look out here. Like, Maple Grove, Bowmanville. What's real estate selling for out in these areas? Let's go back to, let's do Bowmanville real estate. Bowmanville. Like, I think you guys are just greedy and you're just looking at like the most expensive real estate on the market. And you're like, you got to start somewhere. You can't start with $1 million house, guys. Yeah. I mean, look, there's places here for $500,000, 3 bed, 2 bath, 1,000+ square feet. Like, if someone's starting out, what's wrong with something like this, right? Like, and look at, this is pretty nice. Like, I mean, this doesn't actually look all half bad for a little starter place at $500,000. I mean, like, put some effort into it, man. We had to. You know how long it took me to buy a property? It took a long time. And don't forget the 5G a year property taxes law. Better to be prepared to move to a couple. Where are you paying $5,000 for property taxes? I mean, my parents aren't paying that, and I'm not paying that, and I'm in Toronto. I'm paying nowhere near that. I think our property taxes are $2,300. My parents, I think, are slightly less than mine, maybe around the same as mine. And they live in a cottage country town. I mean, it's not that expensive, man. If we pay our property off, my cost to carry for this place is like $14,000 a year. I mean, your cost of living drops significantly if you can come up and save up enough and pay off a house, right? Which is something you should, like, I don't know. I think you guys need to aspire to do better. Southern BC, okay, I paid $4,200 last year. Yeah, but what's the value of your property and where are you, right? Like, again, everything's different, guys. Like, you can't just look at one area and be like, this is the world. Like, it's so variable, man. Like, it's so variable. Like, I could throw a rock from where I live and everything changes. The property taxes, the values. I can show you where you can buy $1.5 million house and your property taxes are less than $4,000 a year. Yet I can show you a place where you can buy $1 million house and you'll probably be paying like several $1,000s in property taxes. It just depends on like areas, man. It's so variable. Come to Windsor, 350K. I have friends that moved out to Manitoba, and they were buying houses for like a couple $100,000, and they're working out there as contractors and shit and masonry work. Like, come on, guys. Like, just smarten up. Like, if you have to move, you have to move. Like, that's just the reality of it. I hate when people complain. They just like sit in some rot where they're like, they just don't think they can do anything with their lives. Like, move. If you can't afford it, move. Like, come on, grow the fuck up, smarten up, man. Like, just move. You can't just complain. I hate it so much. My friends are like this, and it drives me bonkers. It's like, go get into like carpentry work, or go get an apprenticeship where you're getting paid to work, and go somewhere affordable where there's demand for the work. There's so many places in this great nation beyond Toronto and Vancouver, guys. Calgary, Edmonton used to be good, but now they're getting expensive. You had an opportunity there. And then they're going to say, oh, there's no jobs there. It's like, okay, there's no jobs. Sure. How are people living there? How are population growth going on in these areas if there's no jobs? Oh my God, 500K is a good starter home. I can't imagine paying that. I paid 77K for a 2-unit house, renting half. What year did you buy a house for $77,000? My God. I remember when I was 16, houses were selling in my area for where I grew up for about 300,000. And that house is probably selling for around 700,000 today. And I remember, and I thought it was expensive back when I was 16 years old. I got 6-person tent, and it can work. Yeah. I mean, if you, if you really want to give up on the hustle, I mean, there's nothing wrong with tenting it, I guess. You know what's crazy? And I'll finish up on this. When I'm driving up north to my parents, we see people that are living in trailers now on the outskirts of fields. And obviously they have to have maybe, some degree of relation with the guy that owns the farm. But I'm sure you see like all these, I mean, once you get past Stouffville, it's all farmland, right? But sometimes you just see like an entrance to a field, and a guy's got like a whole trailer set up, canopy, a solar panel. And it's like, you're seeing people that are starting to live like these kind of like almost off the grid lifestyles. I'm seeing quite a few of them. Like, yeah, van life, a lot of people doing that these days, becoming very popular. And hey, I don't think I could do van life, but I know people that have done it. And if you're comfortable with it and it's helping you save money and you're able to work. I mean, there was a Toronto Maple Leaf guy that was living in a van, wasn't there? There's a big story on a guy that worked for the Maple Leafs, and he just said it was easier to live in a van because he was at the gym, he was training every day, and he just didn't care to buy a property or rent somewhere, and he was just saving his money. I mean, if a guy making millions of dollars can do it, I'm sure a lot of other people can do it as well. All in on stocks, no rent. True. Appreciate your time today, Kyle. Always a pleasure, Luke. Stay cool. Stay awesome, everyone. As always, I look forward to catching you in the next one. Peace.